Greetings, Commanders, and welcome back to the Deep Space Carrier series here in Elite Dangerous. We're continuing here this week in the Asp Explorer, doing exploration activities nearby our fleet carrier, which is on its maiden voyage out to Colonia. In our last episode, we ended up landing on this body right here that has 4 biological signatures on it, and found a nice set of tubular or tubus or whatever it is that you want to call it, that had kind of an interesting doily pattern on it. I said crochet at the time, but I realized after that, and the title of the previous episode has been adjusted to compensate for that, that it looks more like a doily than some kind of crochet. But as a man who's not necessarily into that kind of stuff, I don't really know what I'm talking about anyway. So I was like, what is it called? What is that called when you see that pattern there? Oh, it's a doily. Okay. Anyways, we still have 3 other biological signatures that we need to grab here on the planet before we move on to whatever else we end up deciding to do. So I think right now we'll go ahead and grab the tussock that's nearby. Get 2 more of those samples. As always, I forget to bring up my Elite Observatory, which I don't really need right this minute because we're not scanning anything. We're not scanning anything where that would be, well, I don't know. Let me bring up the monitor and then look at the botanist. Tubus okay. I mean, so I'm not, well, I mean, I guess I could probably show you guys what I'm looking at. Let's let me see here. We want to get the Elite Observatory, and then we can bring that. Okay, yeah, that actually works. So I have this Elite Observatory here that allows me to kind of look at things that, as we're scanning, it'll pop up information based off of whatever it is that I've decided to, I want it to talk to me about. So this screen here appears to be giving me whether I've finished getting them all, and then how far away I have to go to get them done. I don't know that that's necessarily something I care about that much, but you know, whatever, that's fine. We'll play around with it for a minute. I'm not super familiar with the Elite Observatory and all of its functions, so there may be things about it that I will learn over time that will make it more interesting, but 200 meters is actually relatively short. I think I just saw a small patch under me right now, so let me hop out here real quick and we'll see if my eye was deceiving me. But I thought I saw some patches on the ground that looked like it was... yes. Okay, there is some right there. And ideally, it's saying the colony distance column that you saw on the very right side of the screen that we were looking at is 200 meters, and I'm pretty sure that we're 200 meters away. Okay, cool. So it is a good reference to kind of help you figure out whether you finish them or not. You know, you get kind of lost in the process of scanning things, and you forget what number you're on which species. So that helps you out because if it doesn't have a check mark, it means you still need to keep going. And then the colony distance does help because it makes you really understand kind of how far you need to go before you can stop and kind of figure out what the next thing is. So that's good. So that means that for this next one, pretty much the very next. Well, I mean, I guess if we can find one I guess if there's some like right here. But we're coming to the edge of this. Oh, right there. So I'm thinking I can probably get that. Man, the thrusters on this thing are just not great. Okay, before we get too far into the episode, I would like to ask you to help us to reach the next major channel milestone of 10,000 subscribers by hitting that subscribe button. The number does not go up unless you actually press a button, so be sure to go ahead and hit that now. Hit the like button to spread the video out to more people so that they can have a chance to watch. And then when you're done watching this video, we have more than 1,700 videos on the channel as of the recording of this. Let's see, is it gonna... Yeah, it did update. Cool. And then I think we saw some... yeah, there's some stratum over here. We have over 1,700 videos over on the channel as of the recording of this video. They're organized in a nice, neat little playlist, and I play a bunch of different stuff. So there's bound to be something that piques your interest over there. Be sure to head to the channel when you're done watching this so you can find something else to watch. So, yeah. So now we got the Stratum Limaxis Emerald. So 500 meters for this guy. Yeah, it's better than the 800 meters that we had for the So I guess we're probably outside that range by now. So now the trick is just... Oh, here we go. So this patch right here, I'm sure... Oop, this patch right here, I'm sure is far enough away that we can go ahead and grab ourselves this sample here. I haven't seen any bacteria yet, so this will be 3 out of the 4 samples on the planet. So if I don't see any bacteria if I don't see any bacteria in the next couple of hops that we do, then we're just going to go ahead, leave, and maybe see if we can find something else. It would be really nice if we could... I mean, I keep saying it would be really nice if we could find some stratum tectonicus, but the reality is that we found several examples of stratum tectonicus, and every time we find a stratum tectonicus with first footfall, that's like 3 weeks worth of carrier payments. So, you know, we're not exactly hurting for money. It would be nice to find it. I guess my primary goal at this point is mostly just can we find things that are interesting to look at from a content perspective, because, you know, me making money is nice, but that's not exactly the most interesting thing for you guys. So, yeah, my primary focus at this point is mostly just to hopefully find cool looking things that are going to be, you know, worth sitting down and watching me play this game. That's kind of the whole point. So... while I would love to find stratum tectonicus, and we will absolutely stop and collect the samples for that if we find it, is not necessarily my primary goal. All right, let's we'll fly around for a couple a couple seconds just to see if I can find any patches of ground that look like they might be easily identifiable bacteria. I need to get a little higher. It seems to be struggling to respond to my inputs. Yeah, I don't see anything. Like, you can usually spot bacteria from about this height pretty easily, and it just doesn't seem like that's what's happening right now. So let's go ahead, we'll get our landing gear up and start heading out of here and head on to the next system. Alright, unfortunately, the place that we need to go next is obscured, so that's what that is. I believe that there were other bodies in this system that had life on it, but they were all like 1 or 2 biology, and I'm just not going to waste my time with that. So I'm just going to go ahead and head off to the next one. I'm going to turn my volume down because it's actually pretty loud. It's probably causing me to talk a little bit louder than I need to. And since the microphone's right here, I don't need to shout. I have a bad habit of doing that. Even after more than a year of doing this and 1,700 videos, I still struggle with some of the basic stuff. Just because you do something a lot doesn't make you good at it. All right, so now I do need to switch my observatory software back to the Explorer tab so that if anything pops up, I can see what it is and whether it's worth going to investigate. So it is nice having this little tool here. I'm not a big fan of having third-party tools running. Or even just installed on my system. I would much rather have something like this included as part of the game, so I don't have to run a second thing. Obviously, it's not that big of a deal. It's just a personal preference thing. I personally don't like running third-party software. I would much rather all just be included in what I'm doing. So there's no logical reason why third-party software is bad. I personally don't like it. I'm the kind of person who uninstalls software if it's not something I'm using. Alright, so we're just scanning all these icy bodies on the off chance that we find, you know... I mean, I don't even know... on the off chance that we find something that the observatory identifies as being interesting, based off of the filters that I put down. But we're not going to waste our time repositioning to look at that, so let's just go ahead and move on to the next system. So yeah, I'm doing a lot more scanning than I really used to because now that we have the Elite Observatory and our primary focus is finding interesting things rather than saving up for our fleet carrier, which, you know, now we have. Now that our primary goal is to find interesting things and preferably interesting biology, spending more time scanning is more beneficial because it gives us a chance of finding more cool stuff. That said, as I've said many times in the past, I really detest, and I mean, and I'm using that word explicitly, I detest the full spectrum system scanner minigame as it exists in the game right now. I would be much happier if they came up with a more direct and efficient system for scanning things in the system. So I just want to make it very clear that while I am sucking it up and doing this, I like, of the various things in this game that I don't like, this is at the very top of the list. I really hate this, what we're doing right now. It's extremely boring. It's extremely tedious. It requires, in large amounts of direct attention rather than just being something that you start an automated process and then you get a list back. I'd much rather have that. I've complained enough about this before, but for those of you who are new, I do detest the full spectrum system scanner, and you can go check out some other videos for extensive explanations as to why. And as I've said many times, and every time I bring it up, I have suggested replacement systems for the full spectrum system scanner. I'm not just a complainer. I do provide solutions. But, I'm just a small YouTuber. Nobody cares. It is what it is. All right. So, yeah, hopefully we're going to find something interesting in this episode. Doily patterned tubus is interesting and all that, but not as interesting as maybe finding some more of those geometrically shaped whatever that biology was. We do have an episode where we found some hexagonal shaped. I don't know what the 3D version of a hexagon is called, but it was hexagon shaped through biology, and it was very interesting, and it had a weird core in it. So you can go back and look through the playlist for that, and you'll be able to see it. It was. I said something about those are all too far away, so regardless of what that is, we're not going to go check that out. Oops, wrong button. Let's go ahead and check out this one. 100. I think I don't remember. I don't know what I said last episode that I was going to try to start thinking about a limit for how far we would go for ships that I have that are equipped with the Super Cruise Overdrive. I think something like 50,000 light seconds or something like that's probably pretty reasonable. You start getting past that, and you're having to start and stop and start and stop and start and stop, and it's like, I don't want to deal with all that. Pop our Discovery Scanner. Let's see if we can get lucky. Come on. All right, 21. So, realistically, I should scan all of these because that's not really that many bodies. When we start getting into like 30, 40 plus bodies, I'm like, I don't have the patience to sit here and scan all of that in one sitting. Like, we got to stop and move on to something else. I have better things to do with my time. Better things to do with my time than sit here in this this mini game that I really don't like. Right. Oh, there's another one, right? Wait, I'm confused. Okay, that was weird. I mean, I understand that there's a gas giant right here, but it's like... Okay, I'm a little... Alright, so we got some geology going on these. I haven't had anything pop up on my Elite Observatory, so that's telling me that there's nothing super interesting around here. Alright. Just continuing to scan and hoping that we find what we're looking for. Oh my god. It's just so fiddly. Like, I'm sorry, this just isn't fun. This is not fun. So that's a nested moon. That's the notification that I just got. But I mean, yeah, there's like this. Whoever thought that this particular mini game was engaging is just, it's not. It's really tedious and annoying. I'd much rather just press a button and have the system do an inventory of it for me, and then, you know, a minute or 2 minutes later, I sift through a list of things to find what I'm looking for. This is just so mind-numbingly boring. Okay, get that done. And like, if it's boring for me to actually participate in this, I can't imagine how boring it is for you guys to have to sit and watch it. Like, alright. 2 more jumps until we reach our next randomly selected star, and then we'll find another direction to go. I'm trying to stay within about 10 jumps from the carrier, so that way whenever we're done doing whatever it is that we're doing, it doesn't take too long to just run back to the carrier, dock, sell off whatever we made for the week, and then be ready for our weekly carrier reposition live stream, which we do on Sundays at 6 p.m. Pacific time. Be sure to come and hang out with us for that if you're interested in following this series a little bit more. I've been starting to write down a list of topics to talk about so that I actually have something decent to do while we're sitting there waiting for the jumps to happen. I do, for those of you who are not aware, or for those of you who haven't heard me say this before, I am aware that you can move the carrier from anywhere. You can move it from your ship. You can set it to go wherever it is you want to go. But the purpose of my carrier reposition live streams isn't just to move the carrier. It's to kind of go and hang out and provide a place of social hangout while we do it, so that anybody who wants to come and hang out during the jumps can do so if they want. So yeah, I know there's not going to be that many people who are interested in coming to just chill on a carrier while it's jumping around, but I have had people show up, so it's totally worth doing. I have had people show up for the live streams. Okay, so do these. Because, like, I personally think that the Discovery scanner should make it so that all of the things show up in. My solution is that the Discovery scanner should make everything show up here, and then you can just tap on something to find out to get whatever information you're looking for. Like, you shouldn't have to manually scan everything to get basic information. Like, hey, is this giving off biological signatures? Is this giving off geological signatures? Is this giving off? Is this nested Is this nested with this, or is it fast rotation that, or like? I disagree with this policy of you have to manually look at each individual object to find out anything about it. It's like, that's stupid. I'm a little bit low energy today. I mean, I know I'm probably doing a relatively decent job of sounding energetic, but I don't really have too much. I don't have much in the way of topics to talk about. This whole week kind of has been like that for me, though. Like, this whole week I've just been I've felt really low energy and not super motivated. I'm not sure why. Yeah, I think a lot of it is just like my last week had a serious interruption to my schedule, and maybe that's throwing me off. But even then, it's like, I don't know what it is. I've been feeling really low energy the last several days, which is kind of ridiculous because I have coffee all the time. You would think that I wouldn't have to. I'm not having like withdrawal symptoms or anything. I have coffee 2 or 3 times a day. All right, how far away is that? 16, but that should still be within the jump range of the carrier. I'm not necessarily trying to only do 10 jumps at a time. I'm mostly just trying to stay within a 10 jump radius of the carrier. But yeah, I don't know. I've been feeling abnormally low energy in the last 3 or 4 days. I was sick, and I'm pretty sure it was COVID because I said the word. Hopefully the algorithm won't get me. It was the virus that shall not be named, because my wife had it and got sent home because they make her take tests there when you're sick to verify that that's what it is. So she got sent home with COVID, and then I felt like crap for a couple of days, and I'm pretty sure that it was her giving that to me. But we're we're older, but we're also not old either. It's like I'm in that. I'm starting to get into that middle age, but I'm still on the younger side of that. So we're still young enough that that particular ailment isn't necessarily something that affects us very much. And I'm certainly not healthy. I'm definitely overweight, but I'm also not like I don't have the risk factor that a lot of people who had a lot of younger people who had serious. I'm trying to avoid keywords that are going to make the algorithm not like me very much. So it isn't because, like, if I'm having a conversation with somebody in person, I'll say the words. I don't care. I'm not worried about people's opinion of me. You as a viewer, if you don't like those particular terms, I don't actually care. But I am aware that the algorithm itself will gate my content if I mention certain things too many times, or, you know, I don't want that stupid banner at the bottom of my video saying, if you want more information about this, you can blah blah blah, or this is misinformation this, or blah 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 blah. Like, you got to be careful about what you say in your videos if you don't want to get flagged, or if you don't want to have your video like shadow I don't want to say shadow banned, but just like reduced being a reduced amount of being put in front of people. Like, you got to pay attention to it. So I do try to avoid saying certain terms, which, you know, really sucks, because that's I'm basically self-censoring, which, you know, I think is ridiculous. But if you're gonna do content creation and you're trying to build a channel, sacrifices must be made. It is what it is. Maybe one day we'll get back to a point where YouTube makes it so that you can say whatever you want with no consequences, and then people can just be how they want to be. But I am, you know, building this channel to the point where it hopefully becomes one of my major income streams is a primary goal for the channel. So, you know, I have to think about those things. I can't just be how I want to be with no thought to the consequences, because I do have goals for the channel, and you can't ignore your goals if you're, you know, if there are things that are going to decrease your chances of reaching your goal. It's just smart to avoid doing those things that are going to hurt you. So, unfortunately, that's the environment we live in. All right, I think we have. I'm confused. All right, let's say it's telling me that there's bodies here, but then it didn't. Oh, I see body. We'll go ahead and we'll go land on that planet, and if the bacteria that we find is easy to see, we'll scan it. Otherwise, we'll just go ahead and set down and call it a day. Oh, wow. Okay. We got a bunch of bodies over here. Alright, so unfortunately, the only thing we're going to see in this system is some bacteria. So 123C is what we're looking for. If you're confused by that, it is if you're within 2,000 light seconds when you activate the SCO, you basically take 10% of the distance and bring your velocity up to that speed. So, you know, 1,200 light seconds would be 120C. And then you turn off your SCO, and generally that should put you right around the efficient, getting you to the 7-second slowdown point. If it's further than 2,000 light seconds, then my rule of thumb is to hold the SCO until the time gets down to, you know, right around 5 or 6 seconds, and then turn it off. And then the aggressive slowdown of your SCO deactivating will push it back out to, you know, 8-9 seconds maybe. You have to kind of have to deactivate it early, though, because as nice as it would be to wait until like 3 or 4 seconds, the speed that you're traveling at, the speed at which you're traveling at that point, makes it really difficult to control. So it's better to just err on the side of caution and turn it off when you see 5 or 6 on the ETA there on the bottom of the block in front of us right there. So that's my personal experience. It's the way it's been working for me. We're just going to do the 4 here because we do have the expanded probe radius, and I've found that 4 probes is perfectly sufficient to make this work.
Surface scanned by 50%. Surface
scan
complete.
Recepta is that species I was just talking about, where I was talking about the hexagonal shaped, or geometrically shaped anyways. I believe that they're not all hexagons. I believe there's other, I believe there might be cubes and some other kinds, but Recepta is the one. So see, this is the part that I don't want to say irritates me, but you know, I have several of my viewers go out of their way to try to convince me that going after single biology planets is not a waste of time. And while I understand what they're trying to say, the math tells me that the odds of actually finding anything other than bacteria on a single biology planet is very low. But then, of course, on the one time where we actually do go after a single biology planet, it happens to be something other than bacteria because, you know, the universe just wants to go out of its way to make me look dumb. The way it goes. Whatever. It's fine. We'll go get ourselves some Recepta, and hopefully it'll be first footfall, and we'll make a decent amount of money. I'm pretty sure Recepta, like, Stratum Tectonicus is at the very top of the list of, you know, valuable things, but Recepta is far more interesting to look at. So, whatever. We'll go get ourselves some geometric biology. I'm all about finding that. So now I got to come up with a title. The Geometry of Biology or something like that. Or Geometric Biology, or I don't know. It needs to be something that makes it clear that this is not something you find every day. Okay, so supposedly, if we can slow down fast enough to not crash, let's get our landing gear down. Oh.
Landing gear deployed.
Okay, I'm going to be very careful about landing right now because we used up most of our shields on that. We'll bring up the botanist in the Elite Observatory, and let's go find out what kind of... Oh, we got our first... Oh, was that first footfall? Or are we going to get... Yes, first footfall. And then we've got Recepta. This is what I'm talking about. Like, this isn't the geometric ones, but it always has some kind of weird thing in the middle, and it has an outer shell of some kind. So this is actually pretty cool. This is like a wiffle ball. Okay, so we're going to call it wiffle ball something. Space wiffle ball. Or wiffle balls in space. Something like that. That's what that looks like. It looks like a weird looking wiffle ball. Recepta umbrux mob. Very nice. Oh, and it's only 150 meters? I might be able to just go to the other side of this field here. No, not that field. But I mean, these guys right here, definitely. If I could slow my ship down. All right. Cool. All right, yeah. So I'll come up with something. I don't know that I want to say space wiffle balls. That's kind of boring. But you know, wiffle ball will definitely be in the title. I just got to come up with some kind of catchy, Elite Dangerous specific way of saying it. No. I don't know. I'm trying to think of a title because we're gonna get this last one here and then we're done. So I gotta come up with a title here pretty quick. But anyways, we're gonna go ahead and call it an episode. Hopefully you guys had lots of fun. Be sure to click the like button so the YouTube algorithm knows and sends the video out to as many people as possible. If you are not a subscriber, please consider doing so now to help us reach 10,000 subscribers, which is our next major channel milestone. Join the channel as a member if you'd like early access to videos, among other perks, depending on which of the tiers that you choose, or you can just leave YouTube's version of a tip with the thanks button. So again, thank you very much for joining us on this episode of the Deep Space Carrier series here in Elite Dangerous. Be sure to come back for the next installment of our Deep Space adventure, and I'll see you then.